this video is going to be about the art of merging with the moment. But before I get into merging with the moment, I want to talk about what the moment is and some of the misconceptions Westerners tend to have towards the moment. Now, the moment is an elusive thing to the Western ego because it tends to think that it's a thing. It's a thing that's there, you know. And what I'm reminded of is something I used to do as a kid, and maybe others did when they were children, is you'd think about when is the future, and you'd go, the future is right now, and now, and now, and now. And what's funny about that is that's actually a very deep understanding of the flow and change of the moment, and what you're actually coming to awareness of as a child when you say the future is now and now and now and now is an awareness of the everly expansive now. There is no future that is coming towards you, and you saying that right now is the future and now is the future and now is the future as a child shows you just how backwards you had been taught that you think right now is the future, you know, and it doesn't even really make sense, but you're on a good track by coming to awareness of the moving experience. So when we say merging with the moment, what does that even mean? Well, to me, merging with the moment is simply coming to the awareness of what you are aware of. Now, when we get into all of this mindful awareness and conscious thinking and conscious action and all that, we very quickly, our egos very quickly overcomplicate the scenario we're dealing with, the situations we're in. And the way in which we overcomplicate merging with the moment is, for example, somebody tells you, let's merge with the moment. And you see what they do, and they may do this fucking weird thing, or they might just stand there, but whatever they do, in your mind, you may be pulled to go, okay, merge with the moment. Let's do that. Check 1, become aware of this. Check 2, become aware of that. Check 3, you know? And you go down this kind of like scheduling, this like cycle of, this sequence of like, you make it a task to become aware of what you're experiencing. And this is only one of the many ways that the ego overcomplicates anything that it experiences, in that somebody tells you to merge with the moment, you try to merge with the moment, and at first, yes, you will be under the impression that it takes an effort to merge with what is going on around you, but the way it generally is and will come to be over time of this practice of merging with the moment, you'll begin to realize that it is just this simple little switch that goes off. It's this just this little flip, this little blip that occurs, and the transition from this lost in experience to aware of the moment and the experience one is in, this transition becomes shorter and shorter and shorter, and at first you are struggling to become aware, and you are unaware of certain things that are going on still, like certain thought streams that you are acting out of, like the thought stream of coming to awareness. I am coming to awareness. When you are actually coming to awareness of the moment, you have to be aware of that too. You can't just think the thought and sit in that little spot in your head, because that is just as much an unconscious place in your experience as well, and you have to do what I call this snapping back thing. And that kind of leads me into the next thing I'm talking about, the snapping of awareness, which is where it's that little flip where you're going about your experience, and whether you try to or not, at first it tends to be a self-induced effort, but after a while it becomes this unconscious rising of awareness to what you're experiencing. But at first it's going to be this, you're just doing what you're doing, and all of a sudden everything seems to clear, like everything is put under this microscope, and you feel your legs against the seat, or your feet walking in each step, and you hear the sounds in equilibrium with how you're moving about, and you see all the structures and surfaces and faces, and hear all the people talking in the wind, and it grows. All of a sudden it just, and it roots in, and it bypasses everything, even the mental constructs, where you become aware that you are thinking of the moment, and you are aware of the moment, and you snap into this vast void-like place of awareness of everything that you are aware of, in essence. And when this happens, there is no generalized context to the experience, because anything that is thought of or used as description of that moment that you are aware of it falls into the moment that you are aware of, and it is not connected to the awareness of it. It is only something within it as well as the awareness of it. It's I probably am not making sense. This is a very deep thing. Talking about awareness is very complicated, because we are always acting out of it to each other, and it's just this kind of backdrop. It's this background that we act out of. Like when you look at a picture, a painting, you typically don't see the canvas or paper that it was painted on. You see what is painted there, and that is the same idea with awareness, and the moment that you're in is that it's just, the awareness is the canvas, and what you become aware of is everything on that canvas, the painting. And it's hard to differentiate the two and to not be a part of one of them, but rather simply be conscious of both simultaneously. Like I said, we very much so overcomplicate it. This video is a beautiful example of how merging with the moment can be overcomplicated. And another thing I want to talk about before I go is how after a while of doing this, it will start to happen uncontrollably, even in situations you don't want it to. Like, say you're in an argument with somebody, or having a passionate moment with your significant other, maybe moments that you want to be invested in the experience, the ongoing experience that's going on, and all of a sudden you're aware that you're experiencing that, and that it feels like this and sounds and looks like that, and you didn't try to become aware of it. You didn't put in any effort or conscious nudge to become aware of it. It just kind of washed over you. And when this begins to happen, it's a sign that I don't like to talk about subconscious much, because I don't know much about it, I guess. But I guess you could say it's when your subconscious is beginning to push out that awareness. Your subconscious is beginning to become more aware, and on a subconscious level, you are unconsciously becoming conscious without any sort of mental effort, and it begins to just come over you. And like I said earlier, the durations between being unconscious of your experience and coming back to this awareness of your experience begins to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And I have yet to experience a state where there is no drop out of this awareness, but I can only imagine what it's like to never fall away from this state of awareness. Now, the last thing I want to say before I go is a funny analogy or anecdote from a Ram Dass lecture that I watched. It was a story he told where, I believe it's a true story, but apparently many years back there was a psychologist who was planning on running a self-experiment where he would remain aware of himself for as long as possible and then report the effects and experience he had afterwards, where he would be walking down the street and he would go, I am walking down the street, I am looking ahead of me, I am on this street, or whatever it may be. And during this experiment that he was doing, one day he was out walking in the street and he was going about his I am doing this, I am doing that, and then he saw a coffee shop and he crossed the street and went to get coffee. And it wasn't until 2 days later that he remembered, oh my God, I'm supposed to be conscious. I'm supposed to be aware of myself right now. Where was I the last 2 days? And that is exactly what I'm talking about. The merging into the moment is the opposite of forgetting about your experiment of awareness by going to get coffee. And we live in this state where we never snap. We never snap to our experience. So that's it for this video. I haven't made a video in a while, and I plan to make a few more videos on some of the past things I've been thinking about or experienced, and yeah, those will be coming soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back with more.